gather here today to commemorate the life and passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And after a long life of faith, duty, and service, a great light has gone out in our world. The death of Her Majesty the Queen was a shock to my nation and the wider world. Under Her Majesty's reign, so much has changed, and with God's grace, our countries have grown and have flourished, and so too has the Commonwealth, of which she was fiercely loyal and rightly proud. As I stand here in Uganda, I look back on her last visit in 2007 to attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Many of those here will remember Her Majesty, or may even have taken part in some of the proceedings. And during this visit, Her Majesty praised Uganda's rich history and was moved by the warmth of the people. She quoted a Uganda proverb that those who walk together warn each other, and noting that in its sense of unity giving strength, this could just as easily have been a Commonwealth proverb as a Ugandan one. And it's this unity that brings us here today, whether we are from the UK or Uganda or elsewhere in the world, whether we are Christian, Muslim, Hindu or other faiths. We can all draw comfort and encouragement from Her Majesty's unstinting and devoted service. Her Majesty ascended the throne and together with other world leaders championed the Commonwealth, taking it from a small group of just 7 countries to a family of 56 nations spanning every continent of the world. Her sense of duty and of service was unparalleled, and this spirit of service should be at the core of everything that we do. And I hope that reflecting on Her Majesty's life will make all of us think about what more we might do to serve others. The death of Her Majesty the Queen will be felt throughout my country deeply, throughout the realms and throughout the Commonwealth, and by countless people across our world. Her Majesty's ability to remain our constant, whilst also embracing that change, was arguably her greatest strength, and one for which we give thanks to God. The crown now passes, as it has done for more than 1,000 years, to a new monarch, a new head of the Commonwealth, King Charles III, and while this week is rightly a week of commemoration, it will in turn understandably be followed by an opportunity to reflect on our relationships, to look towards the future we share as we continue to walk together. On behalf of the royal family, I would like to thank all of the staff at the Cathedral for your support in bringing us here together today, to each and every one of you for coming to mark this occasion with the wreaths and the flowers. But perhaps most importantly, thanks to the people of Uganda, who showed Her Majesty unerring warmth and friendship. We are grateful. May Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II rest in peace and rise in glory. Amen.
Is indeed a very solemn occasion, and it's quite often difficult to find the correct and proper words to express the grief that we all feel. But I do know that we are all gathered here this afternoon to commemorate and pay tribute to Her Majesty the Queen, who passed on last week on Thursday, on the 8th of this month. Last Thursday, I had the misfortune to have traveled to London, ostensibly for a very enjoyable function. But most sadly, at about 6:30, hardly 3 hours after I had arrived, it was announced that Her Majesty, the Queen of England, had passed on. I was saddened when it was announced that it was the Queen of England. Saddened because she wasn't the Queen of England alone. She was the Queen of all of us in the Commonwealth. The Queen remains a very remarkable individual. The outpouring of emotions since her passing on testifies to the remarkability of the individual that the Queen was. Though Her Majesty has passed on, she continues to live amongst us by virtue of what she stood for and by virtue of the acts she performed. She leaves us with a legacy to aspire to. Her Majesty touched the mighty, the high, and the low. In 2007, Her Majesty visited Uganda during the Commonwealth Heads of State meeting. During that visit, she was given an officer as her ADC in the person of the late Colonel Albert Kareba. When Kareba fell sick later on, the Queen took her pen and wrote to Kareba to commiserate with the challenge that was going on. That is how endearing the Queen was. Her Majesty's life was so inspiring that she leaves us a lot to aspire to. And I hope the example she set in service, in life, will be an example that all of us will aspire to live by. May her soul rest in eternal peace. The peace.
My name has already been mentioned, Patrick Ruaga Mugumbule. I am the Speaker of Uganda Lukiku, and I'm here to represent the Katikkiro of Uganda. And I carry a message from him, which I am going to read. The Katikkiro's message at the commemorative service in honor of Queen Elizabeth II at this church, St. Paul's Cathedral, Namirembe, on this day, 15th September 2022, this year of our Lord. It's exactly 7 days today since the death of Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain and Reims, who was also the head of the Commonwealth. During her 70 years reign, Queen Elizabeth II effectively answered her call of duty, always placing her responsibilities on top of the agenda and often at the expense of her own comfort. While the Queen has been highly acclaimed in many parts of the world, her commitment to service is one of the essential elements that earned respect for her as an individual and for the office she occupied as a sovereign. In the course of Queen Elizabeth II's duties, she was faced with challenges many times, and her reaction to them clearly indicated that she fully appreciated that responsibility required leaders to find solutions to those challenges as opposed to being held back by them or even lamenting about them. As such, the Queen gave the world lessons of leadership, call of duty, commitment, personal sacrifice, and courage. On behalf of the Kingdom of Uganda and on my behalf, I extend my commiseration to the British royal family, the people of Great Britain, and the members of the Commonwealth. And on behalf of the Kingdom of Uganda, I wish King Charles III good health and a bountiful period of heir to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.